Finally, we have a way to do long exposure photography with the S23 Ultra. The S23 Ultra has got one of the best cameras on a mobile phone today. It takes exceptional photos, but there is a serious downside with the S23 Ultra, and that is long exposure. And there's a few ways that we try to get around this thing by just trying to do it at the right time of day, or by using some sort of app that we've got out there. It's a serious oversight for this particular phone, considering what else it can do. But in this video, I'm going to show you how we get around it. iPhone users absolutely have it all over the Samsung in this particular case, because there's lots of apps that you can use, even some handheld apps that the iOS devices can use to do long exposure photography. There are some apps for the Androids, but if you've watched what I've done here for long enough, you know that they're not really that good. They're kind of like the politicians that we have. They promise a lot, but they tend to under-deliver in the results that they give you. These days, even the Huawei phones, even the Pixel phones do it straight from the camera app. That is long exposures straight from the camera app. Yet this camera doesn't do it. One of the things that we want to do is use the regular camera app, just slow it down a little bit. And the way we slow that down is with ND filters. ND filters are kind of like sunglasses for a camera. And what the sunglasses do is it lets you turn the scene darker to let you shoot longer, and any movement that's in that longer period will blur through the photo. That's essentially how it works. What I'm showing you here today is the Freewell magnetic ND filter system. It comes with a case and it comes with filters. They do a lot of stuff here to do with the S23 Ultra. You may remember I've done a review on the Sherpa system for the iPhone a few months ago. Same company, same quality, really impressive. Let me show you how it works. Now, for the long exposure stuff with this device, you're going to need to put it on a tripod because you can't do it handheld. We're going to shoot for like half a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You can do up to 30 seconds, really depends on the light, and I'll explain all that in a second. But you're going to need a tripod. This one here is the Explorer Photo video tripod. I'll put a link down the bottom there for this. It's a bloody good tripod. You're going to have to use a tripod. It doesn't have to be this one, but you are going to need a tripod. And when you get these filters, you're going to need this phone holder because these suckers, they're magnetic, like a lot of the Freewell stuff. If you have a look in the case here, we've got a number of filters here. They're all different ND filters, as in the strength of them. On the back of them there, you can see this is shaped very much like the camera bump on this phone. This one here is the ND16. Put on the top there, clips in, and there you go. Robert's your mother's brother. Dead set, simple as that. How do we use these though? This is the scene that I've got going on here. I've got a little bit of water moving through. There's not a lot of white water here, but there is across the other side there. So I'm going to use the Super Telephoto lens to do this. So onto ST there, we're in Pro mode by the way. You don't need to shoot raw or anything like that. That's not what this video is about. This is just about the filters. I'm just going to change that composition a bit there, just so I get a bit more movement. So when we're looking for long exposure photography, you're looking for something that moves reasonably fast. It could be clouds moving on a fast, windy day. It could be water like this. It could be vehicles with lights on, things like that. But you're also looking for something that doesn't move at all. And that's what really makes the photo look cool. So you can see in the frame here, I've got rocks that are not moving and I've got water that is moving. Now, we'll do the focusing in a second. We'll go to the shutter speed here because the shutter speed is where it's all at. I'm going to put the ISO as low as it can go. It's at 50 right now. No, it's not, it's at 64. Let's change it even back to 50. Then we'll go to the shutter speed. The shutter speed, we're going to change this until such a point, if you look in the center there, we've got +1, +0.3, yeah, +0.3. That there is your exposure alert, if you'd like. That's not the right word for it. The right word escapes me at the moment. But we're looking at that. That's going to come in very important in a second. Yeah, the exposure value there is sitting at 0. So the exposure is quite good here. If you have a look on the top right hand corner, you've got the histogram as well. There's nothing touching the far right. There's nothing touching the far left. This should compose fairly well. We'll go to the manual focusing now. We're going to move this slider up, and what we're looking for here is green peaks. And there it is right there. So the more this is in the green highlighted area, all that highlighted stuff, that will be in focus. So we've got the focus right, we've got the exposure right. We'll just take a test photo of that there. I've got the timer on here because we don't want to be touching the camera when this happens. That looks reasonably good. You can see some test photos I've done here before. The focus looks good. You can see it's a very fast photo. You can see all the bubbles and stuff that's in the water there. So we'll get back out of that, back over here, there we go. And we're going to put a filter on here. Now we've got the focusing done properly, we've got the exposure done properly, and the first thing that we're going to do is go with a lower ND number here. This one is ND8, so this is 8 stops in theory, the ND filter. So I've got that magnetic on there, put it over the top, and you can see there with the screen recording, it's gone all dark. So what we're going to do is adjust the shutter speed. Go on the shutter speed, and we're going to go slower with the shutter speed. If you keep an eye on that, the exposure value there, 1/16 of a second. That's fairly slow for fast moving water. We'll hit the shutter, we'll take the photo, it's done there. We'll zoom in now and have a look at this water. You can see there it's moving a little bit. Do we want it to go longer? Bloody oath we do. We'll change this ND filter. Something with these filters, they are stackable. Because they're magnetic, I can actually stack another one directly on top of this. I don't want to right now because it's the lowest value one that we have. But there you go, we can actually stack these just fine. But what I'm going to do, I'll take both of these off. We'll get back out of that photo there. You can see there it's all blown out because there's no filter on there at the moment. So I'm going to go to ND16. We'll put that one on. This is twice the value of that ND8 that we just had. And you can see it's a little bit darker. Look at that exposure value. It's under 1 stop. So we'll decrease the shutter speed. There we go. So now we're at 1/4 of a second, I think that is. I haven't got my bloody glasses on. There's that photo done. We'll take this off now straight away. It's all blown out. The manual focusing there is still in the same place that it was before. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to the highest value one here, which is the ND64. Here it is here, and I can barely see through that at all. We'll put that onto the camera, mounts directly on there. That magnetic system is just bloody awesome. And what we'll do, we'll change the shutter speed again. So I'm going to bring that up further, keeping an eye on that exposure value there. We're above 1. We want it to be as close to 0 as we can. That's a 1 second shutter speed. We're going to hit the shutter on that, and we'll take the photo. It looks a little bit too bright. That could be the haze. There's a lot of fog around this morning, but look at that water. That's moving really well. I'm going to rip this out of here, adjust it up in Lightroom. That works pretty bloody well. Now, there's a bit of haze around this morning, so this is certainly an environment where we're really pushing these ND filters more than anything else. We can't get around the haze, but it's really, really pushing what these filters can do. We've got this photo, we're going to throw it into Lightroom now. This is the last one. So this is the one that shot for 1 second. If we wanted to shoot for longer than 1 second, like I said, we can throw more filters on top of each other. Anyway, this is the photo. We're going to zoom right in here and have a look at that water. There's a lot of movement in that water, and the focus is quite good on the grass in the background, on the rocks in the front. I think that looks pretty bloody good. Because it's a daytime photo, there's a lot of haze here. I'm just going to hit the auto button and see what it does. It actually does pretty good. Still got a bit of haze there, so we're going to go across to the effects tab. In the effects tab, I'm going to slide up the dehazer, and you can see the immediacy of that being resolved. I'm going to add some clarity to this as well. I'm going to zoom in on these rocks and have a look. That's just sensational. That worked really, really well. Very good filters, just 1 second long with a bit of movement in that. Add a little bit of texture. Going to add a little bit of a vignette. Got to tell you, I think that looks just ripper. I was going to make this a black and white photo, but it's brought out the color in the bank on the other side of the river there. I think it works really well. These filters, they're not that expensive. This is the price of them right here. You can get them right now. They make them for the Galaxy S23 Ultra only in the Android. So don't ask me about them working on the S22s or S21s. It doesn't fit that. This case is for the S23 Ultra. The filters are to go on this case. All the other filters, the circular polarizer, things like that, they're all for this case. And they're not going to work with the older model phones. But if you've got this one, this is a dead set awesome solution. That's it for today, guys. I'll catch you later.